All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Another episode of whatever this is, MEB Golf Podcast, whatever you want to call it. I am very ill prepared as per usual. I am going to kind of get started more or less. It's going to be a nice little short episode. I at least am continuing to do it. So, again, with the ill prepared podcast episode without a guest as per usual. I do want to get this going. I was able to get an episode out last week, which I'm really pleased about. I'm looking at it now at about 48 views, so it's 7 more than the week before, and about 30 more than the week before that, and about even 40, almost 50, well, not 50, about 40 more than the week before that. So I think that's just with the inconsistency of not doing it every week, but I'm back on the train and happen to do it. There are some potential guests in the near future. We will see. Hopefully it works out. But, with that being said, I'll kind of more or less just hop right into it. It's been a busy couple of weeks with just work. I'm finally kind of getting back into the swing of things with the job. Getting, more shifts, like I'm supposed to be. Unfortunately, there are some little speed bumps that are stopping me from doing what I want to do, and I guess that's just life. But it's getting a little frustrating. But so that kind of leads me into my birdie double bogey situation. You're gonna hit your speed bumps in life. You're not gonna be able to cruise right through life or whatever that is. What we call this thing we're in right now. I was listening to Theo Vaughn's podcast or something, or no, I don't know if it was Theo Vaughn. I don't know. I want to say it was Theo Vaughn. But, just talking about how none of us in this world, I don't think it was Theo Vaughn. I don't know. It'll get back to me. But he basically was saying how none of us in this world, whether you're a multi-billionaire, rich, whatever, or the bottom of the barrel, no money, no life, no family, no future, no whatever, we're all kind of just trying to figure it out, which kind of made me think, like, at the same time, that's kind of what I'm doing here with this whole social media thing, this whole world. Like, even the guys like Bob Does Sports and Foreplay and all these other golf content creators that I enjoy watching, they are literally just figuring it out every single day, just like I am. Obviously, they've probably gotten a lot. I'm sure a lot of luck with what they've done in their past when it comes to brand deals and money, and they are very a little more educated on when it comes to, or skilled, I guess would be the correct word, than I am when it comes to like the editing process of all this whole thing and talking, and they're not as maybe a little more. Not as less have that camera anxiety like I have. This is the hardest thing in the world for me, is to get in front of this camera, and that's where I struggle at the most. Between the camera anxiety and then figuring out how to use the technology when it comes to the editing, the angles of the camera, the this, that, and the other, I have no idea what I'm doing. And it kind of, like I said, Theo Vaughn said, like, everyone's figuring it out life. Everyone's just trying to move forward and trying to learn one day at a time and how everything's going. And whether you're Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States, he has no idea what he's doing. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree with that statement. So it's regardless of who you had in that presidential, in the White House, it doesn't matter. No one knows what they're actually doing. We're just living one day at a time, trying to figure out what's best for, trying to be good people, and that's all we can do. But this, like I said, kind of going back to my double bogey, I really am just struggling with getting over this camera anxiety. I don't really feel too comfortable kind of doing what I'm doing right now. Sitting here in my apartment by myself, and I'm just like a nervous wreck, talking to a camera, and I know all 48 views are gonna see this, um, but and I don't ever get comments on that either, so it's not like a big deal. But I would rather have I would rather see comments on there and all the hate, because then I can start, I guess, more or less getting some constructive criticism, which is what I need. And what I can do, it's how I take that constructive criticism, because I'm sitting here watching, internet invitationals and all these other things, and all these people are just dogging on, Luke Kwan or Paige or whoever in the thing, and some of them are taking it to heart, and these guys are pros, so I can only imagine what what I would, if I was in a position like them, how I would be able to handle it, and it's got to be tough for the social media world's a scary place, that's for sure. But yeah, just double bogeys more or less just my camera anxiety. I don't really care for I guess, getting over my fears. It's hard. And it's so funny because, I'll sit there at my job more or less. I sit there and talk to strangers all day, every day. And it comes much easier for me. And I don't know if that's motivating. I don't know if that's just me being motivated by, doing good work because I'm being paid to do it, or if I'm getting some incentive to with the money, or, it's just because that's who I am when it comes to work. Now, what I'm doing right here is not a job. I'm not personally getting paid to do this. I'm not getting brand deals. I'm not getting anything for free from anybody, so there's no real, I guess, motivation in this for me right now. So that's kind of a big roadblock for me. So I'm like, it's hard to do something if you're not, I enjoy doing it, don't get me wrong, and I want to continue, and I want to make this channel grow, but unfortunately, even like the closest people to me I see, don't really, you can go on there and see who likes and repost and whatever. Sure, I'll get some return followers and guests. Like the other day, it was a little motivating. I had some kid ask me, or some kid, I don't know how old he is, but some guy asked me saying like how he loves my content and wants to be a part of like the podcast and be a guest on it one day. And I said, I thought that was cool. I thought that actually had a little motivation toward me. So, it's really neat to have some people actually follow and listen into the content. And I know when you get those views up, it does help a little bit. But so more or less, it's just that's kind of my double bogey. It's just that camera anxiety and trying to stay motivated to do this. It's hard when you're not getting paid. And I guess money motivates people, and life's not about money, so that's why I'm going to try to keep motivating myself to do this. It's kind of like when you go to the gym or anything, with anything, if you don't, there's something I heard, and I don't remember, I have a hard time remembering when people tell me stuff. I got to start writing stuff down. But they said, like, every day you have to do something you don't want to do, whether it's go to the gym or, do this. This is something I don't want to, talk in the camera for an hour, edit for an hour, post it, do this. There's a lot of work involved into it, as opposed to where I could just be sitting on the couch watching TV until I got to go to work, But yeah, this is kind of what I'm just going to continue doing it. I'm going to kind of turn that into my birdie, more or less, which is that I'm getting it done. I'm motivating myself to do something that I'm not being paid to do. There's some days where I'd actually kind of want to go into work just to kind of get out of my head. This is a way to get out of my head. I was able to be able to, I'll turn into more golf and sports related here in just a second with my birdie. And that's just the fact that I was able to get out there and golf. And congrats to our boy Craig getting a new position at a new property with a little bit more mas dinero. He will be one of our chefs that I worked with at one point. He ended up is moving to West Palm Beach, where there's a lot of golf. So it might benefit MEB Golf. So I'll be hopefully heading up there to visit him and play some golf up in the Palm Beach area a little more often. So that's kind of a birdie. I know that's not me doing it. That's more of a birdie for him. The fact that he got a very, very great position in a brand new, or not a brand new property, but a beautiful property that is. So really, really happy to see that he's moving forward with life. So with that being said, we'll kind of just move on back right into the whole thing, and as opposed to me just blabbering on about my camera anxiety. So with that being said, we'll dive right into the World Series. Congratulations to the Dodgers. That might have been a top 3 World Series of all time. It had everything there was that you wanted in a World Series, and that's, drama, well managed. It was an incredible, 7-game, what more could you ask for? 7-game World Series, Game 7 of the World Series, extra innings, basically using every one of your starting pitchers. Game 3 went to 18 innings. The Dodgers ended up pulling off that win. You had an historic program, or a historic team in history in the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then a team like the Toronto Blue Jays, who haven't won in like 30 years. I know everyone in the United States everyone was probably rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays, other than the people in Los Angeles or Dodger fans in general. The only thing that the series was missing, what was at the bottom of the 10th, 12th inning or whatever that was in Game 7. I don't remember which inning it ended in, but they had Clayton Kershaw warming up. Yamamoto was on the mound to finish it off with the double play against Alejandro Kirk. The only thing that could have really made that the best of the best World Series, it would have been putting Kershaw in, finishing it off with Kershaw. I know he probably wasn't your best option at the time because of his age. Obviously, he has the experience and the grit and the grind or whatever, but, Yamamoto was the hot hand, and Dave Roberts made the right decision by keeping him in. It was like I said, probably a top 3 World Series of all time, if not the number 1. The only one that I could probably say would be, your top World Series, and this might be a little biased, is that St. Louis Cardinals over the Texas Rangers in, 2011, I guess. That was probably one of the best. Like I said, it's a little biased because I'm a Cardinal fan, but David Freese hitting that walk-off home run against the Rangers, and then Joe Buck saying, "We will see you tomorrow night." Of course, David Freese hit that triple to tie it up in the whatever inning that was, too. That was an incredible World Series. There's been... In baseball, it was just one heck of a season for everyone. We've got a lot of off-season moves here for the Cardinals that need to be done. There's already rumors out there that Arenado's going to be out. There's probably rumors that I've heard Alec Burleson might be gone. There's going to be a lot of movement in that Cardinals organization here next for the winter meetings. So looking forward to seeing what the Cardinals do. They need a lot. We know that because obviously the Cubbies and the Brewers and even the Reds were kind of almost powerhouses in the Central. So really looking forward to seeing what the Cardinals do in this offseason. So we'll kind of move on. Congrats to both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays on their success this year. It'll be a great year next year for them, I'm sure, too. And again, Clayton Kershaw, what an absolute gem of a career you had. I was able to watch it basically his whole career. It's kind of crazy to me because I'm getting a little old, just to see that people's careers are starting and ending. Full careers, not like get injury, whatever. Same with like LeBron James, who's been playing his whole career. I was able to watch his whole career too. It's just wild to see these people getting done and finishing their jobs and retiring. It's wild to me. But we'll kind of move on from baseball and get right into a little NFL. Obviously, a lot of great games this past weekend. The Bills and the Chiefs. The Bills end up pulling off the win. a bunch of trades actually happened out there. I think the biggest one of them all was the Jets getting rid of Sauce, moving him over to Indianapolis. So, congrats to the Colts, I guess, for getting some talent back in the backfield for the Colts. I think that's a huge pickup for them. They've had a pretty surprising season with Daniel Jones, and I always really kind of liked the Colts. Peyton Manning days and Marvin Harrison, and they've always been kind of fun to watch. Obviously, they've had their rough years in the past, but so congrats to the Colts. We've got it's a pretty good season so far. There's a lot of teams that have the potential to win the Super Bowl this year. Obviously, the Chiefs being one, the Bills being one. I guess the Colts and the Patriots are even in there. Steelers are in there. I know the Ravens have had a tough start with what Lamar Jackson going down, but he's back and ready to play. So who else you got? You got the Chargers. You're playing all right. You've got Tampa, who's a great team. Got a lot of teams out there that have the opportunities to win one. Look at that NFC North. The Packers, I know they just had a tough loss. They've had Tucker Kraft went down with an ACL injury for the year. So there's a lot of good teams out there. A lot of bad teams, of course, too, like your Miami Dolphins, who are just trash. Your Jets, obviously, are trash. They're kind of calling it a season. But, it is what it is. We got a big week of college football this weekend. A lot of upsets this past week, which kind of opens the door back up for the Missouri Tigers. They've got a very, very, very tough game this weekend against Texas A&M. But unfortunately, your Bo Pribula is hurt and done, so it will be even tougher. But for whatever reason, if they can somehow pull off a win against A&M, they have got an opportunity to do something. Because after that, they've got maybe Oklahoma, Oklahoma, and I think that's it for the whole year. So, if they could somehow pull off an upset this week, they're right back in it. Because I know Vanderbilt went down, Georgia Tech went down, Miami went down, a lot of upsets, So, looking forward to this weekend in college football. Of course, we've got a little bit of college basketball just started. They did their exhibition games, and they're doing preseason. They're about to really get into the thick of things. Same with the NBA. They're back at it, and the NHL is back at it. So, like I said in the last week's episode, this to me is probably one of the best times of the year for sports. Obviously, baseball's over with, but you got NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, basketball, and football. You got all the sports rolling. Golf is in the middle of things too. You've got a lot of golf tournaments, DP World Tour, all the PGA fall season. You got TGL coming up. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the YouTube Golf World, so they're always continuously filming somewhere, and promoting whatever the new things that are going on. Looking forward to TGL. I know some people have mixed feelings about it. I am definitely going to make it up to a match. So TGL, I'm going to tag you in this. I'm going to shout you out. Hook me up with some tickets. I'm happy to get on that TGL train and watch some golf. I'm excited for this next season. Rooting for Jupiter Lynx. They had a little tough season last year, but I got to root for the home team. Jupiter is only about an hour or so away from me, so I'll be happy to root for them. Of course, Tiger's on that team too, so we'll see if he can get out there. But that being said, we'll dive right into some Internet Invitational. There are currently 3 episodes out right now. And I'm going to do some spoilers or whatever, So if you want to watch it and you haven't seen them, I'm going to just basically talk about what happened in the first 3 episodes. I'll probably do just the 3rd episode, just because I think I went over it a little bit last week with the first 2 episodes. But with that being said, it was amazing. You had first, and of course, it was a scramble, the first half of the first episode. It was they obviously went in, picked captains, they ended up picking Riggs and Frankie Borelli. So they split up the two foreplay guys that are still in it. Team Riggs just seems like a good captain. He's won every little Ryder Cup style tournament that I've been able to watch. He's done pretty well. So it was a really interesting episode. Obviously, the Duke is still in it. He was on the team with Riggs in the first coup episode, so it's good to have the Dukey. And potentially, we might have the Duke on MEB podcast or MEB Golf in the near future after Thanksgiving potentially. I've contacted him and he's all up for it. It sounds like, and really hoping we can follow through and make it happen, because that's one guy that I would like to talk to. He is. Bob found him out in Los Angeles when he lived out there, and he is just, to me, a cartoon character. He had the Biz and Yandel just on the floor laughing the whole time, and those guys are hard to do that, more or less, too, because they are hockey players. They chirp back and forth all day. They just kind of, it's hockey players are a different breed of people. But so is the Duke. The Duke is a cartoon character. He did give Dave the first shot of the day for him. He gave him the Duke Shuffle. If you're not familiar with that, I'll maybe try to post one on here and show you some clip of the Duke Shuffle here. But like I said, he is very entertaining. I know he's probably not. They have to blur out a lot of the extracurricular activities he's doing on camera. He probably isn't the most family-friendly person to have on camera or for you to meet or whatever, but I am looking forward to hopefully being able to interview him and talk about his thoughts on the Internet Invitational, Big Cedar Lodge, all things golf, hopefully we can make that happen. So, but we did have a nice little scramble episode. I'm not going to really spoil too much because no one's been eliminated yet, because they're posting tomorrow afternoon, the alternate shot episode, and that will eliminate another half of the team. So that'll knock it down to only 12 people remaining, because it's 12v12 right now. Frankie versus Riggs. But I'm going to let you, and like I said, I'm not going to really dive too much into it because no one's been eliminated yet, but it was one hell of an episode. Really looking forward till tomorrow to watching it. I really can't get enough of this. Bob Does Sports Foreplay. Great job with what you guys did over there. Brendan Jones. I heard the Foreplay guys basically talking about seeing your timeline of the editing part of it. I can't, and Frankie said he can't do a 9 holes in 90 seconds without screwing something up. And the fact that you did a 3-hour episode, 6 3-hour episodes with 48 different golfers and 55 different microphones, and all these different cameras and camera angles, and basically timing it all out. It's making a movie, more or less, and it's absolutely. I mean, for someone who's in the beginning stages of editing or learning, just beginning how to do it, props to you. I mean, these guys like Frankie and Riggs and all these guys that have actually have somewhat of a experience in the field, when they're giving you props. I mean, I looked at the timeline of what I'm doing, and it's like this big. Theirs is 17 different rolls and sounds and mics. It's absolutely incredible, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I don't want to do the editing part, but I want to get people out there. I want to hire, I mean, I don't really know where to start, but I need to get someone out there with me, filming for me, whether it's 9 and 90, 18 holes in 20 minutes or whatever. I want to get someone out there, go in there and do the editing for me, have a foursome out there just playing different courses, challenging each other to little. I mean, it doesn't have to be challenged. We could do stroke play, just 4 evenly matched players, me, my 2 and 3 other people that are evenly matched. Basically what Bob Does Sports and Foreplay do, get those brand deals, get the, just show people entertainment, or just keep people entertained. Don't get me wrong. Foreplay has their own way of entertaining people, and same with Bob Does Sports and Grant and Good, and they all have their own little niches and why they're so popular in the YouTube golf world. And then you got the Golf Girl games and the Gabby Golf Girls, and the Kyle Berkshire hits the ball a mile, and then the Duke is just a cartoon character. Paige Sporanic has worked for so many different golf companies and channels and whatever, and she's obviously a beautiful woman. And then you've got the DOD King, who's just a cocky, SOB, and who else? Roger Steele, who's just got on there. You got Chazzy, who's a small little person, and who's just hitting middle of fairway every time, and Daltouche, who's a gamer. You had Sketch on there, who's just been TikTok, got famous on TikTok and loves the game of golf. And who else was on there? I don't even know. There's so many people. You got a guy, what's his name, with one arm, going out there slinging balls. And of course, you got Cold Cuts and Fat Perez, and you got the Jet, who's just a cameraman for Bob Does Sports, who actually played really well, who's still in it. You've got people like Wesley and George Bryan, who are basically professional golfers out there, playing with all these different personalities, and you get them all together and do what Brendan Jones and his team did, and made it entertaining. Luke Kwan oversleeps one day, and then you've got the Spittin' Chicklets guys chirping them like hockey players do, and then you've got, and then what you're going to get from the audience, like myself. You're going to get, oh, Luke Kwan's an idiot, and then you're going to get the side where, oh, Luke Kwan, they feel bad for him because the Spittin' Chicklets guys are chirping. And then people are going so deep into the history of Luke Kwan at his Oklahoma days, where the coach of Oklahoma almost kicked him off the team for the same thing, not showing up for practices late, not being, obviously he's a great golfer, but, not supporting the team. It's just incredible what these guys do. And I think I have a pretty good personality when I'm motivated correctly, and I just don't know how to really motivate myself to get out there. You get me out there with the right people, and obviously, things can happen. Magic, anything can happen nowadays. You've got people like, for example, you got Kai Trump. When she throws her stuff out there with her grandfather, I love it. It's entertaining. You've got this guy named Jake Stoutland out of the Philadelphia area. His dad's like the offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. The guy throws information out at you like it's like the history and like the uniqueness to each and every little private club in the area of Philadelphia. He's been to some of the top golf country clubs out there, and it's so interesting to me. The architecture, the history of the architect, the grass that they're playing on each and every course is unique to its own. Why it's famous, the clubhouse, the hot dogs, and honestly, when I watch this Jake Stoutland kid out of the Philly area, I could sit there and listen to him all day. He's so educated and well maintained, and he's played his own little thing. He's not out there playing with celebrity professional golfers. Yes, he's played with Jason Kelsey, which was a really neat episode. Obviously, Jason Kelsey's new to the game of golf, and then you've got your other guys like the Scratch Golf Show. Marco, shout out to you, man. It's been an honor to be able to talk to you a little bit about the game. You are so informative when it comes to all things YouTube golf and professional golf, and it's really neat to kind of sit there and be able to like network with you. Not really that we haven't talked too much, but it's been a really cool experience to get different people's takes on this. Who else out there, man? There's so many of them out there. And then obviously you got West Palm Beach, this area that I kind of live in is like the home of it all. You've got this one guy I follow. Oh man, he's a trip. But JTD Golf, he goes in there and just TikTok live every night. I pop in there, and people are just dogging on the kid about how terrible a swing is, and the poor guy, man, just sits there and takes it, and and he obviously thinks he can, I'm sure, compete with the best of them. He knows that he can't. He's not a professional. You've got this whole community of YouTube golfers that are getting together for the game that we all love, and that's golf, and I think it's one of the coolest coolest platforms that these people can reach out to. That's what I love about YouTube Golf, that it's kind of pushing people back into the game of golf. Yes, do we want people out there slowing pace of play filming? Probably not, but if you can somehow, before you go out there and film, call the course and say, hey, can I get an open spot to where I can, I'm going to film some holes and a little bit of content for my page and YouTube. 99% of the time, I'm sure these courses will be okay, as long as you're not slowing down pace of play. Obviously, I'm not a golf professional at one of these courses, but I think that they'll be okay with it. And try to do it, don't sit there and slow up pace of play. Don't be putting people in cameras if you're not asking them for permission. There's a lot of things that go into it. And then these drone shots that some of these guys have, it's just unbelievable, I wish I could get a drone. That would be, a dream come true, like a real DJI, whatever drone out there filming these courses. And I just wish it goes back to my anxiety. I have anxiety just going up to a clubhouse and saying, hey, can I go film out there? It's as easy as that. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, absolutely. Just don't slow the pace of play down. I was able to play at Chambers Bay, and I said, hey guys, if you guys don't mind, can I play with these, this camera up, blah, blah, blah. And then I actually hit it up, and they were, of course, happy to be, yeah, absolutely, do what you got to do. This hole's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. They told me, the caddy I played with told me the history about the hole, about how one of the caddies there recently had passed away, and this was his favorite hole, and I ended up putting a great shot on the hole, and then one of the guys I'm playing with, complete stranger, said, I hope you got that one on camera. I said, oh, you better believe I did, and it's just like the camaraderie you get when you play with strangers. I almost like playing with strangers more than I like playing with the people I know, just because it is so entertaining to meet the different personalities of this world. Obviously, YouTube has a lot of them, and I'm sure not everything you see on YouTube is the complete real person, but it for the most part, I believe it is, just because that's who these people are. They love the game just as much as I do. So that kind of is my little take on the Internet Invitational and YouTube golf in general. I know people don't like it. PGA, Rory McIlroy, those guys. PGA Tour, I think, likes it. Rory McIlroy, not so much. He's a little more old-fashioned. But PGA Tour has gotten into the Creator Classic. Live Tour has gotten into the duels. And the Live guys, man, they're playing 72 holes next year. They're not playing 3 days of golf. They're playing all 4, which to me, I think is humongous for the guys over there at Live, just because it'll get them back into a schedule where they're playing 4 days of golf. So when they get to those major events like the Masters, the U.S. Open, the Open, and the PGA Championship, they'll be ready. They're ready to play 4 days of golf instead of these 3 days of golf kind of things. So events. So it's going to be, I think, huge for guys like Koepka and Dustin Johnson and Phil and John Rahm and all these other guys that are going to be playing in these major events from the Live Tour. They'll be back in PGA form. So really looking forward to next season of golf. Obviously, it is my favorite thing in the world to do. Along my way of playing around in 50 rounds in 50 states. Obviously, it's not going to be today or tomorrow, but it will happen. I have no doubt that I'm going to be playing around in all 50 states. So I know I got so many followers and subscribers now. I've got almost like 2,000 on the YouTube and 5 on the TikTok and 5 on the Gram, and so for those people who do see this, come on, let's get the team together. Who wants to play? I know this is silly, but I'm happy to play with a lot of whoever, followers, subscribers. Let's get out there and get some rounds in. Let's get film some content, help me, help you, let's help each other out. Obviously, I'm not the biggest technology, camera, angles, sun, lighting, all that kind of stuff kind of guy. Hopefully there's someone out there that is good at that. If you don't even like the game of golf, you want to just practice with your camera, come help me out. If you're a local film community college, I might have to reach out to one of these community colleges out here in Miami and try to get someone out there that I could pay just a cheaper fee to get out there and film me. I'd be happy to do that. So that's kind of my take on this week's episode of the MEB Pod. I'm aiming to probably get back onto the grind of obviously pushing the short form content out. Of course, like I mentioned, I'm ill prepared here again with the podcast, so I didn't really do any picks for the week. I don't think, like I said, I think it's because, like I said, I'm not being paid to do it, and I'm not motivated and enough to do my research. But I will eventually get there at one point. And it's probably, again, like I said, I've got 48 views on my last long form content video, just like this one. So it's not as, I guess, promising. I'm not getting I ask people to send me pics in, and no one does, because I don't have very many subscribers, I guess, and so it's like, that's why I think I'm as ill prepared every week. But eventually I'm going to make it to where I'm not I'm gonna become prepared one of these days. I know people are doubting and people are kind of poking fun at this whole social media thing for me, but I have no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna be as strong or as big as these other content creators one day. I know it sounds silly to a lot and to many, but one of these days I'm gonna be there, and so if anyone out there listening, like I said, in the next couple weeks, I might actually have a few potential interviews in the golf world. My father's setting me up with some guy that he is I don't know exactly what his position in the golf world is, but I believe he's in something to do with the PGA Tour, whatever it is. So I'm looking forward to interviewing him one day, and then apparently the Duke potentially as well. So with that being said, I'm going to end this here. Hopefully I'll have it uploaded here later tonight. Thank you all so much for listening. I love you all to all the fans and subscribers. I really appreciate the support. Like, share, and subscribe this to all your friends and family. We're gonna get the MEB golf big. Bigger than a lot of these guys that are doubting me. So I appreciate it. Again, please just share this with all your friends. Like it, subscribe. I want to prove to myself that I can do this. That I'm not the only one in this. It's not just for me. It's for all. Well, it is for me too, but it's for all my family and friends. That when I get big, I'm gonna take care of my people. Eventually, I want to run some not celebrity golf tournaments, but golf tournaments that include the social media people, or golf, not even tournaments, more or less just rounds of golf with some of these people that I've always looked up to in this field. So. And hopefully MEB Golf will host a charity event for something. I don't know. One of these days it'll be probably dog, support the local dog shelter, charities or something. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, again, like, subscribe, share. Love you all. I'm out. I got to go upload this. Have a good rest of your day, okay?